Hey guys, it's Eric with the Miller Park Minute, where we're throwing strikes, getting likes, hitting dingers, and getting listeners. Back again with another podcast. This is your only Brewers Daily podcast, trying to bring you the news of the day, the best news, cover everything when it comes to Milwaukee Brewers. We talk daily. Our podcast episodes are uploaded at 5:30 a.m. Central Standard Time. They are on Apple, Spotify, YouTube, Google, Amazon, Castbox, iHeartRadio, Pocket Cast, Radio Public, you name it, they're there. So check us out. We're on all the platforms. We try and do this so everybody can see it. We do even put some stuff on Twitch. If you want to join a live session, we do record nightly at 9 o'clock in the evening. What's up, buddy?
Is there anyone there?
Yes.
Hi.
Okay. All right. See you later. All of our content is ad-free for the most part. We try to be ad-free. Miller Park Minute is the code for SeatGeek. That's the only promo we have and the only promo we probably will have. And you can also support us on Patreon, patreon.com/Miller Park Minute. So without that being said, we have a special guest today again. We are bringing in Mark Lewis, our friend from the UK. We're going to talk about some different things in the world of WBC. We're going to cover the Brewers roster and just some expectations and kind of where we are. Kind of now that we're going into spring training, we've had a couple games. There's a couple games live in progress that we're kind of watching. And we're going to bring him back in. He is an adapted fan of the Milwaukee Brewers from the UK. He plays baseball himself. And he's just generally a nice guy. So let's bring him on aboard. Mark, how are we doing today?
Good evening. I'm really well, thanks. Yeah.
Evening.
It's good
Yes,
evening
it's
for me.
evening
Yeah, it's
here
afternoon
where
for
he
you,
is.
isn't it?
It's about 4 o'clock, a little after 4.
Yeah.
Here,
It
and
starts
he's
10 o'clock
he's
for
in
me.
the evening. He's 10 o'clock. Is that what you just told me?
Yeah. 20 past 10 currently. So
Okay.
I get to chill
Cool.
out and
We'll try. You're going on a holiday tomorrow, so we'll try and get you to bed so you can enjoy your holiday tomorrow.
thank you.
So how you been? Everything's well?
Yeah. Since I last spoke to you, not much has changed. Just been a bit of baseball training and kind of eagerly anticipating spring training arriving, and obviously looking forward to the World Baseball Classic. And just generally keeping busy. So.
So, and you're in an adult men's league, right?
Yeah.
So that, and you told me, you were telling me before when we were off air that you're in a different level now this year, or you're playing.
Your
team is playing at a different level.
Yeah, our team's been going for, this is our 21st season. And it's had a few different guises and whatever.
Mhm.
I play for a team called the Kent Mariners based in North Kent. And we're about an hour. If you look at London on the English map, we're about an hour to the right of it. So
Okay.
we're on that kind of little bump at the bottom. So we're in a county called Kent, in the north part of the county. We're called the Kent Mariners, mainly because Chatham Historic Dockyard is not far from where we play. Which is obviously a very, very famous British naval yard in history. So we've kind of got that connection, hence the Mariners. And we we're very amateur. We've basically pretty much only played single A level in the British standards, which is the lowest level, obviously, that you can play. But we've had a fairly good squad for the last 2 or 3 years, and we came close. We made postseason the last 2 seasons. We've come close to getting somewhere. So we kind of thought maybe we're too good for single A, and we should give it a try at double A. And it'll be interesting to see.
Moving
Definitely not going to be.
on up, right?
Yeah.
At the end of the day, like, that's fun. That's competition. I think we all strive to be in something competitive and enjoy something. I mean, that's, I think, why most people do what they do. Now going into the Great Britain team for the WBC, you and I talked a little bit before this. Now, Is baseball? I guess this is what I don't know, and you can educate me. Is baseball like widely televised for the teams that are of a higher level? Is there a league that you guys watch per se with?
Nope.
No.
It's called
Okay.
Major League Baseball. It's called Major League Baseball. That is what we
So it
watch.
is the MLB. I
Yeah.
mean,
So yeah, so effectively, what's shown on TV over here is I think it's what's classed as the ESPN game or the big game of the day
sure,
over in the States. That gets broadcast on BT Sports most nights. So we do have televised baseball on our sports channels, but the majority of us fans we're we don't want to watch the LA Dodgers or the Chicago Cubs, and the Brewers are on so little because obviously they're not
right.
big
They just don't get
market, blah blah
coverage.
blah. So I just bit the dust and bit the bullet and went, so I'll have the MLB TV package. So I've had that now for 5 or 6 years, and this time of year is great because obviously spring training games are on at nice time for us. 6, 7 o'clock in the evening, we get to sit down and have a beer and watch them and kind of see how the squad's developing. And yeah, it's good for us because obviously the regular season, we generally get to watch the Sunday games because they start kind of 5, 6 o'clock our time, but
Sure.
most of the games start midnight to 3 o'clock in the morning.
Right.
So
So you and
yeah,
and that's kind of what we talked about last time. You're not
yeah,
getting to
yeah,
watch it as live. You're probably now in that stage where you're seeing more stuff with the slate that mostly happens in the day. You're getting to
hmm
see a little bit more live
yeah,
baseball.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Or
It's nice to be able to watch it live and live tweet. Although sadly I couldn't make the opening game yesterday. I was busy with the family yesterday, so I missed it
yeah,
unfortunately. But
that's a part of
I
life. We
caught up
talked
with the
about that.
score.
That's huge.
Yeah,
And I reviewed this roster for Great Britain, and I mean, there's a couple guys that are major leaguers. I see a Vance Worley that I recognize. Obviously a couple guys from Toronto. It looks like uh, Chaz Young, Trace Thompson, Daryl Sweeney. I know.
yeah. Harry
Um,
Ford, I think, is another big name. I think
yep, yep.
he's catcher with the Seattle Mariners. I think he was drafted. See the 12th overall pick in the 21 draft. So, for a GB player to be drafted that high, I mean, I, I think he's had limited MLB experience. I think he's been playing in the minors, but we do have some names there that can claim to be British. I think that most of them, looking at the list, are still born in the USA and probably don't
Right,
have
right.
the
I
USA.
noticed
They
that
just have
too.
that
That was
league.
the big common thread. I mean, so my question in regards to that is, do you like, okay, now you've been a baseball fan about 7 years, roughly. I think we said 7, 8 years, something like that, right?
Yeah, it was 2014 I started following. Yeah,
Okay.
so 9
So
years.
do
Yeah.
you guys get like, okay, for instance, like Jazz, I guess is the best name I can think of. Do you guys get, and was he, I don't know if he's a US born or no? Do you know? I don't know.
Sorry, I missed that. My internet froze just at the wrong point there.
Oh
So
no, I
can
was
you
asking
repeat
about
that?
Jazz, if you knew if Jazz Chisholm
Oh
was
yeah, so
born.
so he was touted to be in our squad, and obviously being the biggest name associated with Great British Baseball, we were quite looking forward to it. But I think he picked up an injury. I don't think he's going to be starting spring training particularly early. I think the Marlins are going to be looking after him and making sure that he's right for them for the season, which it's fair play, isn't it? I mean, at the end of the day, I think for for any players that play for Great Britain, it is just going to be a bit more of a competitive spring training game. I mean, we're not expecting anything. We're we're playing against the USA for. This is the first time we've ever qualified. If we score a run, we will be doing well. Do you know what I mean? It's kind of like that mentality. Let's just go out and have fun. But believe me, if Great Britain beat the USA, I have a feeling I'm going to lose most of my followers on Twitter because I will let you know about
do
it.
you do you feel like this is pretty widely talked about over in the UK? I mean, is this like a big deal that you guys are in it? I mean,
No, no, and that's the
no?
problem. You see, so um, I mean, for us people that follow baseball, we know what a big deal it is because obviously it's the first time we've ever qualified for effectively the World Cup of baseball, which is what people in the UK have kind of nicknamed it.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's only really the people in our baseball circles that are really kind of following it intensely. I think if you ask most people out in sort of the the land, they wouldn't even know what the World Baseball Classic is. And yeah, I mean, most people, if you bumped into somebody in the streets in London, for example, if you said, "Oh, you wearing a Yankees hat? You're a Yankees fan?" They'll probably look at you and think, "No, I wear it because of Jay-Z." Do you know what I mean? This is kind of the level we're
Sure,
at the
sure,
moment. So
sure.
it's kind of difficult because we're such a minority sport over here that it's quite difficult to get the funding. So this is why the achievement of actually getting to the World Baseball Classic was so good for our country. You know, it's never happened before, and we've got something to look forward to. But you know, we're coming up against the USA, who are one of the hot favourites, Canada, who are no mugs, and then also Mexico, who have pinched Rowdy Tellez. So I expect him to probably score a home run every at bat. You know, so it's
Right,
going to
right.
be quite a difficult thing. You know, and I don't want to put any dampeners on you know the Great British team, but to be honest, just being there is just amazing, and you get a win. You know.
Right. And at the end of the day, that's the cool part. Like now you're talking about a bigger stage and a different level. It's not
Mm,
just the major leagues. It's more, and you're seeing more players. Even albeit your list is a lot of United States based players. I think the thing that speaks to here is that we're seeing that people are identifying with their heritage, which is
mhm.
really cool because and I don't know this, so forgive me, but I've noticed a couple of these players are actually dubbed the Bahamas or the
Yeah,
U.S. Virgin Islands, and that's a connection from people that come from the UK that go to those.
yeah. So I mean, I don't know where the connection comes from. I mean, I don't want to kind of insinuate anything, but I'm guessing. I mean, we had a lot of migrants come to the UK sort of around sort of after the world wars and stuff because we had a lot of jobs that needed filling and stuff like that. So the heritage of Great Britain, to be honest, has changed. The diversity of Great Britain has changed quite a lot in the last century. So, you know, it doesn't surprise me that we've got people from the US Virgin Islands you know, have a connection. So, you know, it'll be interesting to see. I say, unfortunately, I don't know many of the players because they're just not televised. The only way we know about them is through following them in competition via Twitter or a YouTube link or whatever. So it's going to be a big thing to follow. I'm really looking forward to it, and unfortunately, I will be a Great Britain fan. Um, and even when a Brewers player is
I,
probably up against them, you know.
but that's cool. That I mean, that I feel like that does something, and you've kind of reiterated that with me that it does something for fandom across the globe. I mean, that's why we're talking. That's why we're having this conversation because it's unique. We don't have many fans across the globe. We don't have someone who's built a podcast that's not from the mitten. You know what I mean? That's
Yeah,
not
exactly.
from the
Yeah.
state of Wisconsin. It's cool. It's unique. I mean, from another state, yeah, sure, there's fans from another state, but this is becoming a more global game, and that's what we want. I mean, as fans, I
Well,
like it. I mean, yesterday's baseball game went quick, and I was like, wow, I guess the new rules are kind of interesting.
yeah,
Um,
yeah.
how do you feel? How do you feel about that? I mean,
Yeah, I don't know about this pitch clock yet. I mean, I haven't watched a game um, with it involved yet, so I don't really know. From what I understand, it felt quite quick. I
mhm,
think yesterday's game finished in something like 2 hours 22 minutes, didn't it? So not
mhm,
best part of 40 minutes off of that's what
you're
people
true.
want. If people want faster pace, then so be it. But I mean, I think we said before, you know, we didn't have a problem with the pace of the game before.
Right.
So
You're a
for us,
fan because
it's
you choose to be a
yeah,
fan.
exactly. So yeah, but I mean, I get it. My biggest problem is that you know they're bringing in these rules to try and make baseball more appealing to the general public and to people that don't follow baseball. But they shoot themselves in the foot with so many other things like the blackouts on TV and stuff, and which they're now starting to introduce over here, which is getting a little bit frustrating. So we had last season, for the first season, we had the postseason blacked out. We've always paid for an MLB TV and we've been able to watch everything, and it's not been an issue. And now all of a sudden we're getting the postseason blacked out, so we're having to pay a subscription for a sports channel so that we can watch it live, or we have to wait for the game to finish, and which isn't necessarily a problem when it's happening at 2 o'clock in the morning, because generally you've got to be pretty nuts to stay up and watch it
Right,
if you've got
right.
to go to work
I
the
mean,
next
you gotta
day
work.
anyway. But
You
but
can't just
it
be
but
up
it doesn't
watching
help,
baseball.
does it? Because there are people that work nights. There are security guards that have to be somewhere, and they might have the game on in the background because it's the only thing that's on at live at 2 o'clock in the morning. So, so it doesn't help. So yeah, I kind of get what they're trying to do, but it's infuriating because they're looking at the wrong things sometimes. So, but yeah, I mean, we'll get used to it, won't we? I think it's
Right. I
it'll be one
mean,
of those things.
it's one of those things that we have to deal with, and
Mm,
I think as a part of this game, we just gotta kind of adapt along with it, unfortunately. And you know, being that the global atmosphere is being built in, the new rules are being built in. They're trying to bring the baseball to the whole world, I guess. Is the I don't know. I don't know that it makes any difference on fans across the countries. You know what I mean? And in
mm.
the UK, if there's going to be more fans that are going to adapt to the game of baseball because of the shortened games. I know you guys have a lot of soccer fandom, and
Yeah,
football is picking up really big. NFL football, I should say.
yeah.
American football, I believe you guys call it.
Yeah. I mean, I've got used to calling it NFL because obviously the connection with the US through Twitter and stuff. But yeah, American football is generally what it's classed as over here. Apart from the diehards that do watch it, that insist on calling it NFL and the right thing. So yeah. But yeah, I mean, I don't. I don't have enough time to watch the NFL as well as baseball. That's the problem. If I'd become an NFL fan and then thought, oh, I'll get into baseball, I might have struggled because obviously baseball's 162 games and it's every day,
Right.
as
It's a very
opposed
long
to the
season.
NFL, which is what 16, something like 18 games. No, 17 games, isn't it, with the bye week? So
Yep.
yeah,
Yep.
which is a lot easier to follow.
They're probably gonna add another one. But
Yeah.
it is what it is.
Well, I guess the extra game that they've added is so that they can start introducing the international series, because I know the Packers came over last year, didn't they? As their kind of their extra game was the game at the London Stadium, not London Stadium, at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, which has been built with NFL in mind. Because they started hosting games, and it's a fantastic stadium. It's just the team that play there, unfortunately. I'm not a big Tottenham Hotspur fan, so being a soccer fan, So yeah, but yeah, it's bizarre, isn't it? Baseball is. I think that the problem with the British fans is that we've got a lot of cricket over here, and they're invested in cricket, and so you've either got to be a real diehard cricket fan and then see the nuances that are similar with baseball and cricket, or you just go, "Oh, I'm a cricket fan. I'm not interested in baseball." So it's difficult to break down that barrier sometimes. And
Sure.
it can be a bit frustrating, and you can get into some silly arguments with people who will say cricket is far better than this, blah blah blah, and you're just like, yeah, whatever. It's a different game. There's different skill sets, and I don't know if anybody's ever tried to stand in front of a pitcher and try and hit a round ball with a round bat at 90 plus miles an hour. It is a very difficult skill to have, and a very different skill to having a big wedge of a flat bat where you can just literally paddle it and defend it. So
Right.
it's fun. It's fun. This is what happens when you get involved in a sport, isn't it? It's
Right.
there's so many avenues you can go down.
And
Yeah.
it's it's the I'm sure it's the same with trying to get anything um the items on your I was just admiring the jerseys on the wall behind you, the hat that you're wearing. I'm sure it's just like anything, it's probably you gotta wait forever to get something,
Yeah.
There's
Yeah. I mean,
a waiting period, and then
yeah.
it's not as instant access that
No,
we
that's the thing. That's the thing. It's sorry, I just straighten up my hat because I realised that
have.
it's in the mirror. So when I move it to the left, it moves to the right. And I'm like, oh, hang on a minute, I got very confused.
Yep.
But yeah. I mean, there's not so much access to stuff over here. I mean, there is the Fanatics International, which you can get all of the stuff. I mean, I need to get the City Connect jersey. I wasn't a fan of it to begin with, but now I've seen it more and more and more. I'm like, oh, I've got to get it, haven't I? So,
It grows on you. It really does.
yeah,
Like
exactly.
I
Yeah,
at first was like, okay, I'll probably
yeah.
buy it because that's just who I am. But like at the
Mm.
same time, it just grows on you at times. Um, what do you think going into now spring training? We're getting to actually see live baseball and stuff like that, and you're obviously you're probably going to be a little behind on the, it won't be as fast for you to get in back into this thing. But are you starting to gain that excitement because there is
Yeah,
baseball and you can see scores when you go onto the
yeah.
MLB.TV and
It's just frustrating that the Brewers game isn't on right now. They're playing, and
right
I've got to end
2
up watching
games.
a Cubs. Yeah, and I'm watching a Cubs Dodgers game in the background because I can't watch a Brewers game. That's the frustration. But yeah, no, I'm loving it. I've always liked spring training ever since I've had the MLB TV app because, as I say, it's at a British friendly time. I can watch it, and then I can watch the end of the game, and then I can go to bed and not feel like I've only had 4 hours sleep the next day. And it, the good thing about spring training as well is you get to see so many players as well.
Mhm.
Last season everybody really wanted to see how Garrett Mitchell was going to fare. He started off with a flyer yesterday, didn't he? And we've got Weimer and a couple of the other guys that are big prospects that are obviously involved in the spring training. So just to get that idea of how they're faring and whether we're likely to see them in the main team, at some point during the season is really cool to watch, isn't it? And yeah, I really enjoy spring training, and also it's you can lose a game and it doesn't matter really at the end of the day. It's nice
Right.
to win it's nice to win a trophy, isn't it? But it's hard to say that you've won a trophy when the rules are kind of set up for you to develop your team. When you can call a game where you can suddenly say, oh yeah, sorry, we're not going to go for that third out, we're just going to call the inning there. It's 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 not serious, but it's a good kind of build up to the main season, isn't it? So and everybody's
Yeah.
happy and the weather's good, and you kind of think, because I mean even here it was 6 degrees today, which is probably I don't know, 50-ish. I think your temperature is 50 Fahrenheit.
Okay.
So it's pretty chilly today, and I'm watching people playing baseball in the sun, and it's like, oh, do you know what I mean?
I think that's the best part of being able to watch spring games because they play it
Mm,
in warm climates, such as
yeah,
Arizona and Florida, and
yep,
you get to see, like the light at the end of the tunnel. Maybe
mm,
especially for a Wisconsin fan or someone who is in a colder climate, you're sitting there and you're like, oh, sunshine, and maybe that's the romance of baseball.
yeah,
Maybe that's what
yeah. Oh,
we love
yeah,
so much is because it brings us to that nice time of
yeah.
year in
I
that
mean,
warmer
I've
climate.
definitely got on my bucket list a trip to Phoenix for spring training. I mean, obviously the first and foremost is to get to Milwaukee as much as possible, which the plans are in action for hopefully this year, maybe next year, and every year after. But the bucket
Let me
list.
know if you're coming, man. I'll come have a beer with you.
Milwaukee, get to the minors, all the minor teams, Nashville, Biloxi, and Carolina, and even the Timber Rattlers, and then get to Phoenix as well for a week. And I so wish I could have come to Phoenix this week, because as you know, Great Britain are playing the Milwaukee Brewers in a in a friendly prior to the World Baseball Classic, and believe me, I looked. It was going to cost me over £1,000 to just go for 2 nights, so it was kind of like got to bite the bullet on that one, unfortunately. But yeah, it's everything's on the bucket list. So yeah, Phoenix looks awesome.
Well, and
Yeah.
that's probably the hardest part about being a fan from a different land is you do have to determine, okay, well, where's the money going to be spent? I've got
Mm,
my MLB subscription, obviously, because I have to have
yep.
that to even enjoy the game. But when do I go? When can I go? And that's all cost of being a fan at that
Hmm.
point.
Yeah.
Probably costs you a
Yeah.
little bit more probably than the average American to be a fan.
Well, maybe. I'm guessing people that go every week are, or to sort of 3 or 4 games a week are spending more money than I would if I came over for a week. But yeah. I mean, the problem is you've got to look at it's going to cost you at least £500 for a flight over to the States before anything else. So you're looking at a holiday. You're looking at spending money. I mean, the last time I came over, I probably spent about £400 or £500 or the equivalent in dollars on gear that I just couldn't get over here. I mean, I bought baseball caps, I bought T-shirts. I luckily went to a couple of the games where they did free giveaways and stuff like that. So yeah, I bought my first ever Brewers jersey from the club shop, and yeah, I went with the anticipation of I am spending a lot of money, and obviously that will dwindle down the more I go, but there's always going to be stuff to do, and actually just sort of seeing the general Milwaukee area as well. There's so many cool
Right. I mean,
places.
that's kind of part of it as well.
Mm.
Do you like to cruise the MLB shop and look at the new merchandise? We were just talking about the City Connect stuff. Do you
Yeah.
is that a big part of it for you?
Oh yeah, I'm always looking at it. As you can see, I've got some unusual shirt names and and some bog standard ones. The Yelich jerseys are really easy to get hold of. Fire Eyes,
Right.
and unfortunately that was was a little bit more difficult. But I got there in the end. And then I think the week that I got that, I think he got traded. So I then learned my lesson about spending money. I was like, for God's sake. But
Fanatics does have like a jersey. Like if you get a custom jersey, you have like jersey assurance. But it still makes it difficult. It still makes it really difficult because you're like, wow,
I mean, at the end of the day, I'm not going to complain about having a JP Fire Eyes jersey. I mean,
No, JP Firehouse is actually a very good player, and that's why the Rays acquired him from us. So they knew what they were doing.
Oh yeah. He's quality, and he's with the Dodgers now as well, isn't he? He got traded to the Dodgers this summer, so or this winter. So unfortunately, I'm going to have a left eye on the Dodgers season now as well.
I love it. So okay, who's your current favorite brewer again? Remind me because I don't remember.
So I really like Luis Urias.
Okay.
He's probably my favourite at the moment. But I'm going to this year. I'm going to adopt Owen Miller just because I come from similar to Wisconsinites. I come from an area where everybody really, really loves homegrown and everything to do with where you come from, and that was where the appeal for JP Fire came in. A Wisconsin native playing for the Brewers. It was, I think, he was only the 10th ever Wisconsinite to play for the Brewers.
Yep.
So that kind of took the imagination. So I was like, yeah, actually, that's who I'm adopting. And obviously, with Owen Miller being acquired over the winter, I've now got that Wisconsinite back. So I think he's going to be the one that I follow the most, in the hope that he makes a name for himself. So, but yeah, I mean, to be honest, any Brewers player, I could have any of their shirts. I mean, Rowdy Tellez, Willie Adamas, Corbin Burns. The list is there. Anybody. I mean, Garrett Mitchell as well is another one that I wouldn't think twice about buying his jersey either. So,
right.
I'm just hooked. I'm there.
So. I mean, I think we're all in that boat. So I mean, I don't think you're out of the realm there by saying that. I know I am. Okay, so I am looking. Do you know when Great Britain's first game is?
No, I don't actually. Because I think we're playing the Brewers on the 8th as a warm-up game.
Okay, yep. And then you play the USA Royals on the 11th. That's what it was. Okay.
Yeah, so I think we play the Royals on the 9th. So I think it's the day after. They're playing the Kansas City Royals, and then I think there's a couple of days off before we play the USA. So
right, get that tune up in, get everybody playing together, and then
Yeah. So
because a lot of these guys don't play together. I mean, they're
No, of course not. Not with our team. It's going to be so difficult, which is why we're just going to enjoy it. But yeah, I think
Right.
So yeah, we've got a really difficult start, haven't we? I've just brought up the schedule. Yeah, so we start at United States.
Yes.
So yeah, it's going to be a tough game, I have to say. It's going to be very, really tough. I mean, I know the United States team don't play together, but when you're facing Shohei Ohtani and Mike Trout and all those big names, it's like
then you play Canada right
You know,
after
if
that
you're a Great
too.
Britain player, it's going to be amazing for them, isn't it? What an experience!
Right. Canada, then
Uh,
they
yeah,
Colombia.
Canada. Yeah, Mexico is going to be a good one as well because obviously we've got Rowdy and Luis Arias that are going
Yep.
to be playing for Mexico, so that'll be a good one to watch for me.
I'm excited to tune in. I really am because now that I have the connection with you, like that just makes it more fun for me
Mm.
to, like you kind of friendly competition. I
Yeah,
might
yeah,
send you a
yeah,
couple of messages during the games while we're watching them.
yeah,
It'll be fun. It'll be fun.
yeah, yeah. It will
Do you
be. I
think?
mean, sorry, you go for it.
Do you think that the viewership for Major League Baseball will go up in the UK
Um,
because of this?
I hope so. I hope so because, like I say, we've been having now for the last few years, we've been having Major League Baseball on one of our major sports channels. We just don't get a choice of what game we watch. It's generally the main game that day. Because of that, there's quite a lot of UK baseball Facebook pages, and obviously there's a lot of Twitter accounts and stuff like that. And through those kind of groups, we've kind of all sold MLB TV to everybody that says, "Oh, how's the best way I can watch it?" Blah blah blah. So I think that fandom is getting bigger. I think it's slowly starting to catch on. And of course, I think last time I spoke to you, we were talking about the London series with the Cubs and the Cardinals coming over. I believe the tickets are selling well for those. I haven't got my ticket yet, but we are looking at getting some so that we can. Go and enjoy just Major League Baseball.
Right,
It's going to
right.
be just to watch live baseball will be amazing. So I think those sorts of things, by those kind of things growing, I think the fandom is getting bigger. It's just not getting big enough, and because we don't have, I think the biggest problem is because we don't have televised domestic league, people don't associate the fact that we're watching Major League Baseball on the TV, but we don't associate it down to grassroots level. Whereas with soccer, for instance, we've got the Premier League on the TV, we've got the lower leagues that are also shown in and around those, and most people have grown up playing soccer on a Saturday or a Sunday, and know of the non-league and the amateur structures as well. So we don't have that kind of non-league amateur structure in baseball over here at the moment, and we don't have a professional league that we can look up to. So in order for it to grow exponentially, you probably at some point have to look at having a European league so that you've got some professional teams that are based in Europe. I say Europe because I don't think there would be enough scope within Great Britain at the moment. You'd have
Mm-hmm.
to look at the Dutch really love their baseball. Czech Republic, I mean, they've qualified. They've got a really big side. France are really big. So I think if you look at the Europe in general, if you were to look at setting up a professional league in Europe, you could probably start to grow that fan base, and then the more people that get involved playing it, then obviously you can start looking at domestic leagues more as well. So it's going to take a lot to grow it to a big standard, but it's I mean, why not dream about it? Why not dream about it? I'd love to see a
Right.
kind of an amateur or semi-professional league in Europe. That would be amazing. So
Right, and I think that's gonna start. You're planting the seeds of that, seeing that the UK has made, the Great Britain team has made this thing, and I think that's the great mix of all this. You mentioned a couple of your favorite brewers who happen to be playing on other teams.
mhm.
Once you start seeing people from your home playing elsewhere, you're more apt, and it brings more fandom because it ties things together.
Yeah, yeah, and
And
that's
that's awesome. I mean, especially talking to like Rowdy and Luis, I think those two players, two of the favorites, are really primed to make big jumps this season,
mm,
and I'm excited for it. I mean, I really think we're seeing Rowdy Tellez start the game off with a home run yesterday
mm.
was amazing, and I'm sure you've gotten clips and stuff of it and seen a little bit. Obviously, you mentioned the Garrett Mitchell home runs, and what do you look forward to most once the season starts? I mean, I know you don't go through the tradition of opening day. I'm sure that's a bucket list of yours. Is it really that London game? Is it the game? Was it you said Cubs Cardinals? I think you
Yeah,
were
it's
telling
Cubs
me, right?
Cardinals this year. I mean, I do look forward to opening day. I think most UK fans do. We we were quite lucky that through BT Sport we got to meet a couple of producers that did like a 15-20 minute like general roundup of baseball. It wasn't long enough, which was the frustration. But they really engaged with the British baseball fans, and through that MLB Europe kind of got in contact. And we've had a couple of like fan packs sent for opening day. So I think it was. 2020, I think the last time they sent us one through contained like a baseball, a little MLB Europe bag, and a towel, and some like some it was not Cracker Jacks, pretzels and things like that. Just some
Oh,
snacks
sure.
for opening day,
Snack.
and so yeah,
Opening
so
day
we all
snack foods.
we all kind of tweeted, packs and getting ready. So I was quite tempted to take the day off after opening day this year to watch it, because obviously we're opening against the Cubs, aren't we? I think it's probably just about at a time that I can manage. It might be a late night, but I think I can manage it, and I might be a bit tired. But the good thing is that I work from home on a Friday, so if I am tired, I can get over it.
I love
But
it. I
yeah,
love it.
yeah. I mean, opening day is amazing, because obviously it's that it means that winter has finished, and
Right.
baseball's back, and we can look forward to the summer and all the excitement, and yet again playing against the Cubs on opening day. But it
Right.
seems to be a
Right.
bit of a tradition at the moment, doesn't it? But yeah, opening day. I really love opening day. I'm not so bothered about the All-Star games and things like that. I think that's very much an American thing. We had I don't know if you know Todd Bewley, who owns the Dodgers, bought Chelsea Football Club
Okay.
over here. So he's basically he bought Chelsea Football Club off Roman Abramovich because of the political what's it's with Russia and Ukraine. Roman got kind of forced out. Todd has jumped in, and the first thing he said when he came over is, "Oh, maybe the Premier League should start looking at doing like an All-Star game." And we all went, "Why? What's the point in that? Having a friendly in the middle of a season? We'd rather watch pro football. We'd rather watch just competitive football. If you want to bring more football in, just create another competition or something. We're not interested in just having a showcase, just for basically making money. That's not the way the British work,
Oh,
unfortunately.
yeah,
So
how it operates.
you know,
I mean the British Football League right now, even with their what do they call it, the British Premier League, right? They have
yeah.
just adapted with Apple TV Plus to at a subscription level where
Oh, okay.
similar to the MLB deal that they did
Hmm.
last year, where you got that Friday game.
Yep.
I think there's a subscription where you get the whole British Premier League, so you can see all of
Oh,
the
amazing.
games
Oh, that would
here in the
that would
United
be amazing.
States.
We don't get that luxury over here, because we have some stupid rule. Well, I say stupid rule. It's a rule that was brought in to kind of increase attendance at live football matches. So TV companies in the United Kingdom are not allowed to show a live football match at 3 p.m. on a Saturday afternoon. So that's the traditional kickoff time for English games. And the main reason for that is they don't want everybody sitting in front of a TV watching it when they could be going to their local team to watch football. So any other time around that, you can watch games, but most games that kick off at 3 o'clock on a Saturday afternoon, you have to go to physically watch it. But obviously, if you live abroad, you can get the live stream. So like yourself, you'd be able to watch a 3 o'clock kickoff and know more about a game than I would if I haven't attended it, because I can't. We're used to it. I mean, it's I go and watch it anyway. I'm a big football fan, so I go and watch it anyway. But yeah, it's frustrating sometimes that you can't just sit there on a Saturday afternoon and watch it on the TV as well.
Yeah, and that's interesting. I mean, that's kind of it's new for soccer versus baseball, where we haven't had a subscription level to a service like that
Mm.
before. So I think that's cool. I mean, it's definitely something I'll look into. I may dabble myself to see a little bit of it, just because I'm curious. Because there's such a hype, and that I mean that's the difference in the soccer world versus the baseball world, and kind of transitioning them across each other. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Like,
Yeah.
you want to bring soccer to us, and
Yeah.
you want to bring baseball across. So
Yeah.
it's
Well, I
like,
mean,
what's
I do my
the mix?
best. I do my best to transition baseball to soccer. So whenever I go to a soccer match, I always wear my Brewers cap. Yeah, and I generally have a Brewers t-shirt on underneath, or something to do with the Brewers,
I love it.
and I generally try and get a couple of pictures of myself at the game in Brewers attire to plaster all over Twitter to try and get that interest of kind of the crossover between sort of the British fans. So
I've seen a couple of those on your
yeah,
Twitter, I believe.
yeah. So yeah, it's good fun. It does get some conversations somewhere, and yeah, it's some people just look at you as if to say, "What the hell? What's that crazy American doing?" It's like, I'm not American, mate, but it's
I don't know which game, but it looks like Luis Urias got a home run in one of the two games today. I don't know what squad he was on though.
he was at the Oakland game, so he got one in the first inning. No, third inning. Yeah, it's a solo shot in the third inning. No
Now
one,
we
no
got to
out.
see some guys today. They I mean, they're strolling out pitchers left and right.
Yeah. They're
Players left
pretty
and
much
right.
all one inning, aren't they? Yeah,
Yeah,
looking at it.
so one
Although
inning.
Junk looked like he had a problem.
Yep, he didn't. Gasser didn't do anything. Small got hit up a little bit. Panan. That's the worst part about this. I don't know.
Yeah.
From the English language standpoint of all these translations of names of like Hispanic origin or
Yeah.
Mexican, any of those type of names, I'm like, I'm not really sure. That's the
Yeah,
biggest
no,
thing you'll
I'm the
hear on
same.
this podcast is half the time
Yeah.
I'm like, I don't know.
Yeah,
That
don't worry.
crowd,
I'm the same. I generally get the pronunciation from the commentators during a game. So
right? That's how I do it 100% of the time. Until I hear someone say it, I'm just kind of guessing at that point.
yeah, similar. So, but I mean, I'm in less of a predicament. So I do less podcasting and less live feeds. So it's not so much of an issue for me.
I talk a
But
lot.
yeah,
I
but
talk a
but
lot.
I
I'm gonna admit
yeah
that. Half an
yeah.
hour to an hour every day.
But I do remember the "We Believe in Jesus," or Jesus when Aguilar
Yep.
went to the All-Star game and the home run derby and stuff. Yeah, so yeah, that kind of got me thinking about the pronunciations and how different. Because obviously, we see the name Jesus, don't we? We say
Right.
Jesus,
Right.
but yeah, it's Jesus, and it has the accent over the U and whatever. So yeah, it's different. Sometimes I look at the names and I just say, I'm not even going to try and attempt that. But yeah, it's you just have to listen, pick it up that way.
Looks like we could be handed potentially 2 losses today.
Yeah, we're bottom of the ninth. We're 11-3 down to Oakland. I wonder if Pena's been playing, because he's with Oakland now, isn't he?
Yep.
One of my favourite players actually, Manny Pena. He's no, he wasn't playing for Oakland today, sadly. But not against us anyway. If they're playing split squad. Oh yeah, and we're 11-6 down against Colorado as well. Oh well.
Unfortunate day for spring training baseball, but
Yeah.
the great part about this is we can look at it and be like, oh well, we got to see this guy. This guy got a
Mm.
couple hits. You're more
Yeah.
tallying the numbers at this point in the the spring training season.
Yeah, I mean, spring training, you're looking at repetition of pitches for the pitchers, aren't you? And at bats for the batsmen, and just getting your general groundwork sort of worked out whilst you're in the outfields, aren't you? So yeah, there's nothing to panic about at the moment, is there? I mean, you just have to kind of whittle down the squad as and when through spring training, don't you? It'll be a while before we see Burns doing sort of 5 or 6 innings, won't it? Whether we will see that in actually spring training, it probably won't be until the
Right.
start, I guess.
Well, and just like that, I mean, Christian Yelich's are held out. You're not going to see
Yeah.
him right away. He's
No,
got to get
no.
his set amount of bats and stuff like
Yeah,
that. So,
but isn't there there's a cutoff, isn't there, for the invitees and people where they have to kind of cut the squad down before they start playing the
yeah,
serious
it's like
spring training
2
baseball. So
weeks in, they start
yeah,
sending guys to minor league camp versus
yeah,
major league camp.
yeah.
And then that's when you start to see your Christian Yelich play more, and they still keep a couple of guys that aren't looking to go to like AAA. They keep those guys around
Yeah.
to kind of play
To see
back
if
up
they,
for
yeah,
those latter innings, and just
exactly, yeah.
give them some time. So, but I mean, this is fun. I mean, this is exciting. I hope to hear from you on the podcast platform real soon. Do you got any episodes or anything coming up?
No, we haven't recorded anything for a while. Me and Sean have got in contact again recently. We had a really busy year last year, and it just
Sure.
didn't work out. Sort of, we only got 2 episodes out, I think, last year. So, but we have been chatting. We both want to go for it again this year. So we're chatting. We did try and see if we could meet up this week. It hasn't happened. Obviously, I'm on vacation next week, so it might be the week after. But we definitely want to be doing something. We want to be. The thing is we can't be as up to date as you. So it's difficult for us to do anything that's going to be new and people won't have heard before. So we have to think of different things, and I think the main reason why people listen to us is just because they want to hear us pretty much speak baseball terms in a British accent. So
There's a market. There is a British baseball market.
Yeah.
And
So
I think I told you about this after we talked last time, but I tapped my podcast I got this ranking report from somewhere, and it said I was number 13 for baseball podcasts in the UK, and I was like, all right, cool, they listened. But and like you said, it's probably because there was someone that spoke like them that
So, but
I mentioned the UK and Major League Baseball in the same sentence, and garnered some viewership.
It doesn't happen. But yeah, no, it's cool. Yeah, I mean, we're looking to do stuff. I mean, for us, the good thing is that we speak to a lot of people that follow us on Twitter. We just say to them, "Come on, let's have a chat." We'll find out about your history with baseball and how you got into it. And I remember we had Matt Carroll from the Reviewing the Brew podcast. He came on with. Do you remember Scott Brewmass used to do the Locked On Brewers with
Sure,
what was it Cheesehead Talk? So that we had those two come on like on the same episode, and we talked about just kind of the general language that's used in baseball, and just learning things like toot blan and all these things, and I had to warn them that in the UK it's very different. If you turn around and say to a female player that we're going to go to the outfield and do some shagging, you're likely to get into trouble in the UK. It's because it's not a term that means catching baseballs in the outfield over here.
Right.
So it's just kind of those interesting sort of nuances. Is the language is really it's amazing in baseball. I say amazing a lot about baseball. That's sort of part of the reason why I'm so in love with the sport. It's there's so many things, and you just never stop learning.
No, I love your energy, and that's part of the fun of talking to you is because you do have such an energy for the game, and it's a different world from the world we live in of how you experience it, and that's part of the fun of talking to you is just how much excitement and enjoyment you have for a game that's not right at your fingertips like some of us Americans who can literally be right down the road and just not participate. You know what I mean?
Believe me, if I lived in Milwaukee, I'd probably be divorced at the moment because my wife gets fed up enough as it is with what I watch. If I was able to go to games every day and obviously with the Wisconsin Timber Rattlers just up the road and even like the Milwaukee Milkmen, I follow them on Twitter and I've got a couple of their games and stuff, and it just becomes this monster, doesn't it? All of a sudden, you're following like different things. I mean, and you probably haven't even seen that. I'm actually wearing a Timber Rattlers top as well. So, so I've got all of the minor league stuff, and it's just become a monster. But the good thing for us this year as well, which is a new thing for the first time, MLB TV are including the minor leagues in the TV package now. For the last 3 years, I've actually had the minor league TV package as well, which is kind of over the top. But so it's quite nice to have it all incorporated in one thing. But yeah, I definitely was interested in seeing like Garrett Mitchell when he was playing for Wisconsin and then going up to Biloxi, and it's great to see him now being in a Brewers shirt. So yeah, it's hooked me. I have to say, baseball has hooked me, and yeah, it's a weird thing, but I love it, and yeah, and then I get to do things like this because of it. You know, it's bizarre.
It's fun. This is part of the community aspect of it. You get to have chats with people. You get to join in on Twitter conversations, and I really enjoy it. I mean, this is part of what I do this for, is just for the enjoyment and then just general conversation. You know, like this is something I like to do. Like I get to come up here to my little studio, this little corner that I've got decked out with all my Brewers and my sports, things.
Yeah. Yeah, I intend to have those one day, but as I say, at the moment with a 3-year-old, I tend to stay downstairs when she's in bed. So hence why I just got a couple of things hanging up in the background, and I've got my scarf. I got my scarf, and I don't know if you can see just over my right shoulder, I've got my my Kent Mariners baseball cap. So that's that's my game day cap. So yeah, so it's cool.
All right.
Yeah, it's great fun.
Well, we'll wrap the episode here, and then
yeah, no worries, mate.
Gotta get on with the day. I'll let you get some sleep.
Yeah. I've got to get up in the morning to go on holiday. So
all right, so follow Mark on Twitter, UK Brew Crew. He's also got a podcast, so follow him. I will link that up here somewhere in that area, down in the description. And then we will be back again tomorrow, 5:30 a.m. Central Standard Time. As always, guys, like, subscribe. Make sure you show your support on the podcast. We're coming every day. We're talking baseball, talking about games, you name it, news, everything Brewers here at the Miller Park Minute Podcast. Thank you for watching, guys. As always, like and subscribe, and you have a great day, and go Brewers.
Thank you for watching the Miller Park Minute. Go Brewers.